Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Love Wins Live Forum. I'm, of course, Rana Kapili Bonifacio, Editor-in-Chief of Inspirations.ph. And with me is my forever partner for Love Wins Live Forum, my best friend every Saturday morning, Ms. Sharon Fabian, Managing Director, of course, of Themes and Motifs. Good morning, Ms. Sharon.
Yes, good morning, Rana, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone that's tuned in right now, depende kung saan parte kayo ng mundo. Thank you so much for joining us again on this beautiful Saturday. How are you, Miss Rana?
I'm good. I just had a good day yesterday. Spent time with my family and just enjoyed the rainy season. Is it rainy where you are, Miss Sharon?
Actually, no. It's been cloudy. Alam mo yung nakakainis na bitin because you don't know if it's gonna rain or it will, the sun will come out. So it's kind of bit like that the past few days where I am. But all is good, diba? So long as everyone's happy and healthy in our homes. Di bali na kung umuulan o hindi masyadong umuulan. I'm really very excited because today, actually yesterday, hindi lang sinasabi ni Rona bakit good ang day niya. It was her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday! Happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
Rona! And today also, Rona, is the first day of the Philippine Wedding Summit online,
It
right?
is.
Yes, and we will have the virtual opening ceremony at 2 o'clock today. So we're inviting everyone to join us again. Same channels later at 2 p.m. Pero bukas na ang online booth, beginning 12 midnight kanina. So they can, wag niyo muna kami iwanan ni Miss Rona. After
Yes.
our live forum, you can go head on over to www.themesandmotives.com and check out the online booths of our exhibitors. And
Yes. Last week, of
exciting.
course, yeah, we had the 50th wedding anniversary. That was, and they had the reception on Zoom. Remember, I hope you remember this. And we were saying that it was quite amazing because they had 170 users logged in sa Zoom nila. So we really don't know how they made this wedding reception in particular so
Mhm.
engaging and so memorable. Apart from, syempre, they know each other and of course they're not gonna want to leave each other.
Mhm.
But from that, no, tama ba, Miss Sharon, we realized just how challenging it is to have a blended event and to have a live stream event. We've been doing live streams for a year now. But when it comes to special events, it's a whole nother level, right?
That's right. O, kasi sa atin, Ron, medyo kind of one way, di ba? It's kind of
Yes.
our show, and and we're just blessed because we have people joining us every Saturday morning. Yeah, but what I realized, no, talagang big realization ko when we coordinated that 50th Golden Wedding Anniversary, yeah, Golden Wedding Anniversary, critical pala yung program, yung components ng program, di ba? Para sa success ng isang reception program, especially if you're doing a virtual event or they call it hybrid or blended event. But I think even the on-ground, in-person wedding receptions, crucial ang wedding program because right now, since pandemic pa rin, there are restrictions. And when we had Robert Blancaflor for National Live Events Coalition, he did mention that ang recommendation is 3 hours na lang yung entire program. Tama ba ako, Rona? On
Yes.
nasi-senior moment ako. Yeah. So, so yeah, di ba? So now, you have yung shorter yung time mo. So, crucial yun na how will you make it memorable, exciting, and fun for everyone. But at the same time, you're also observing the proper health and safety protocols and you stay within that limited time. So, yan yung ating naging insight last week when kaya na-realize natin, oh, let's do one segment, one episode on wedding programs. Kasi yan naman, after the church, syempre yung mass or the service, yun na yun di ba? Pero yung
Yes.
life of the celebration is really, hindi lang napapansin, but it's really the program. And what a better way to discuss it with the expert in the field. Sabi niya, also you will interview me, di ba, when we when we contacted him. Hindi ko lang masabi sa kanya, actually, ang takot ko, baka kami interviewin mo. Di ba? So, sobrang expert yung mamang to. So, let's call him in. I'm sure marami tayong matututunan sa kanya this morning. Rhonda, please do the honors of introducing our guest this morning.
Yes, of course. I do have his credentials. But if I say his name, I don't think I really need to say it. But of course, as respect, I'm going to say this is one of the most sought after virtual and live events host and three-time Aliw Award host. Please welcome no stranger to themes and motifs, part of our family and also of the Love Wins Live Forum, Mr. RJ Ledesma.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me again to the lovely Sharon and Rona. Thank you for inviting me to the Philippine Wedding Summit 2021. Very, very happy to be here and share some of the insights. It's really a great. It's a lovely sunny day where from my vantage point. And Rona, happy birthday! You share the same
Thank
birthday
you.
as my son. You just turned 5 years old, so it was a very fun day yesterday for myself as well. Miss
Yes.
Sharon, kumusta ka na?
Oh, I'm good. I'm so happy to see you again. Kahit na virtual lang ang ating engagement ngayon, it's always good to see you. It's always an honor to have you
Uh,
in our show. Medyo
the last
kinakabahan ako
uh,
kasi feeling ko
the last
interview
couple
mo
of
ako.
times I've only seen you. I've seen you only virtually for the last couple of times we've seen each other online. But I've had a chance to actually host several wedding receptions during this new normal. And just like I think Rona would do, just like any host, although it's fun, it's also a great learning experience for me. And I'm very happy to share some of the things which I personally learned from hosting online over there. And I've also at the same time had a chance to host not just weddings, but also formal events, lifestyle events,
Mhm.
and business forums at the same time. So
Because they're
each
all
one,
still going on, diba? I mean, I keep
they're all
seeing
going on.
all
Life goes on. Life
everywhere.
goes on. That's right.
Yeah.
And you
And you're
sort of
doing
pick up
like,
elements. Yeah, you pick up elements from all these different things that you're doing, and you're able to reuse them and fit them into the different programs that you're doing, especially for weddings.
Yeah,
yes.
so 'di ba? Rona, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, 'di ba? So sino pa ba ang i-guess natin? Kung hindi si RJ because siya talaga yung may wealth of experience coming from the pre-pandemic days hanggang ngayon na now that we are in the pandemic. So RJ, let me start off by asking, normally, pag walang
Yeah.
pandemic, ano yung must-have in a wedding reception program, yung hindi nawawala before
Well,
this pandemic hit us?
yeah, I think that the best way to frame this discussion is to always remember, I often tell people that my job as a wedding host is to make the wedding more memorable, more magical, more fun. In other words, that's a sort of premise that you're able to create. And when you're able to create that sort of framework, you say, okay, to create these elements of the wedding, I tell them, okay, here is your wedding reception program that we're going to create for you over there. Now, that works whether it's pre-pandemic, pandemic, or even post-pandemic. That your job as a wedding reception host is to create an atmosphere that's going to make that day very memorable for the couple. And I would even argue that even during this period of the pandemic, there's even an opportunity to make the weddings, even because they become more intimate, they've actually become more memorable for people, especially because of the challenge of pushing through with it and planning during this time. It's not
Yes.
easy because the guests, kumbaga, I mean, everybody, there's a certain level of, I mean, when you go out, of course, you take all the proper safety precautions, but there's always this
Mhm.
level of a little level of risk going out, diba? So, you have to make it worth the while of
Right.
the guests, of the couple,
Yes.
of the family and loved ones. So, like you were saying, Miss Sharon, earlier on, yes, I mean, bottom line is, kumbaga, in business, the barrier to entry is that there must be all the health and safety protocols must be observed on the way to preparing that wedding reception program,
Right.
and in the conduct of the program itself. But your job is still to make it more intimate. In that intimacy, make it more magical, more memorable, more fun for the couple. So, having said that, it was a long-winded way of getting to what makes things. What do you keep in that program? Um, I think many of the key elements are still present in the current program, but the only thing is that you have to right now be conscious of the time that the program is conducted. Why? Because it wasn't like before, where you would say you'd plan out for 2.5 to 3 hour program, right? because
Yes.
you have to give time for the same day edit to be finished. You have to give time for the guests to arrive. You have
Yes.
to give time for basically the program is to my mind, it's clockwork. It's stretched out to a specific time period because you're allotting time for everything to be finished and everything to seem like it fits into place. It's very magical, diba,
Yeah.
the program. So the time gets a bit compressed, diba? Because we also don't want people to be overexposed, just for purposes of being very careful. You can't anymore stretch out the program. I often tell the wedding planners, if we can finish in 2 hours, let's do that. So that also means you compress the time of the SDE or the photo video. They have to be cognizant of the time. They can't
Yes.
have as much time as they had before
Before,
to
yeah.
to plan out the program, diba? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to be cognizant as well of social distancing or physical distancing and the health and safety protocols in the venue. What does that mean? That what you would normally do, such as, let's say, the marching in of sponsors, right? The entrance of sponsors, or playing games where there's a lot of movement or physical contact, or let's say taking of photos. As much as possible, what you want to recognize is that you can't have people moving around too much in the venue or congregating into one area, or taking photos in one area. Those are the things that you have to be more cognizant of in doing this one. So I often tell people we used to do this in the pre-pandemic, but I wouldn't encourage it this time. What is the alternative you think is acceptable to you to do during this time? And the couples, of course, are more understanding nowadays that these are that these are what you want to do nowadays. That can't be done, no. And aside from that one, I think it's just keeping that very fun atmosphere. How do you continue to engage people even during this time?
Yes.
And that's why we go into the idea that some programs are blended, because not everybody can be present. What I like about nowadays the weddings that I've been to is that although the guests are less, because guests are there purposefully, not like before. Sometimes pinapuwersa ka to go to an event, or you're not in the mood to show up for certain events. This one, all the guests want to be there because they made the effort to be there. So when we talk to them and when we engage the guests nowadays, they really want to be part of the wedding.
They're all
reception.
in.
They're all in it. So I like that's what happens. But for the guests who could not make it, that's when the program becomes blended. And there are many ways nowadays when the program does become blended, meaning that you can engage the services of people who can do as simple as making it Zoom, right? People watching via Zoom, or there are people nowadays who do a whole Facebook Live of the program, where it's almost like a production number where they have two camera setups and they're going around shooting the wedding. I think that's really great. And the element of why you bring a host in is that somebody also has got to engage the guests who are watching from whether they're abroad or they're online or they're remote, and you're able to create. For me, games are still very important. Usually we used to play games. I often tell people when you play games are fun to play, but there are two reasons that they're there. Number one is that they're supposed to engage the guests, make them feel participatory in the program. And then I often use the games for people to get to know the couple better, but they also help to buy time for the same day edit people to finish their videos.
Yes.
So they're there, no? But more importantly nowadays, because people are abroad, it has to be participatory and engaged even for them. So are there ways for them to participate in games even when they're online? And that's why now you can engage them. Now you can engage them even more because they're online. You can show videos. Oh, let's go to our friends from Zoom. Okay, can you guess what this one was? So I mean, there's ways to engage them over there. And also, lastly, for the health and safety protocols of everyone, we advise people na nowadays it was patalbugan sa internet, diba? On social media, you would post all the photos and the videos online. I think for the health and safety of everybody, for privacy purposes, and also for the venues, because sometimes some pictures can be misconstrued online, di ba?
Yes.
It might look like people were not following safety protocols, or it might look like the place was overbooked. All the venues which you're working with right nowadays, and anybody from the planner up to the events venue, we're all taking our proper precautions to make sure that the venue and everything else will be safe for all the people involved. So unfortunately, when we put pictures online, pictures might not tell the whole story, di ba?
Right.
So we advise people nowadays, as much as possible, please don't post it publicly online, your photos. Nowadays, it's time to keep the photos more private. And for me, those are the basic things that we've seen nowadays for weddings. But then I can really go more into how, even in an intimate wedding, things can still be the same, di ba? In fact, they can
Yes.
get even more intimate. And I've seen couples, they're so happy now because, they're not worried about a big crowd coming, so that
Yeah.
they can really focus on each other. And then the
Right.
guests who are there are really the ones who wanted to be there. And I
Yeah.
can see that sort of intimacy in the past weddings I've hosted during this pandemic.
I'm guessing also, I've been to a couple of intimate weddings, and because, like you said, that guests are purposefully there. There are hardly guests who you like met once in your life, and for some reason they're at your wedding, right? Everybody who's at your wedding are people you're really close to and people you have a really good connection with. So I think even as hosts or even as part of the reception program, you hardly need to do the things like, in the past where it's, if you don't know the bride or if you don't know the groom or if you're not friends with the bride or groom, you set up this context. But now it's
Oh,
like everybody knows everybody and everybody knows the couple, right? And you can just
and
go straight into celebrating and having fun.
yeah, and what's important right now, because like I said, no, two things, no, because it's a more intimate wedding. It can really be, the program can really be shortened because it's easier to control. It's easy. I mean, you can put things, you can really condense things. And the venues are smaller now, right? Because you know what the weddings have done is 70 to 80 guests, and they're all socially distanced from each other. But the rapport is easier because unlike a wedding before where it used to be, let's say, 300, 400 people,
Yeah.
sometimes you needed an extra screen
Right.
just for people to see who the guests were. But this one, there's a visibility for the couple to see almost all the guests there. So
Right.
when you're engaging the guests, you can also engage the couple at the same time. Let's say it's me now. I'm the only one doing the moving around now to talk to guests and say for games or whatever.
Right.
And I make sure that I'm wearing my mask and my face shield as I go around. But then let's say, for example, I talk to a guest. Immediately the couple can see who I'm talking to. So, oh yeah, that's ano. They know,
Yes.
oh, that's this guest, and then that's that guest over there. Oh, he's my cousin. Oh, he's my good friend. So it helps facilitate a really more intimate and and more fun atmosphere.
There's much more warmth. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
there's
experiencing?
more warmth. There's more warmth. Yes, absolutely there's more warmth. More warmth in the room when that happens.
Yeah.
RJ, question. Because some are wondering, no, like, you've been discussing how you've been doing the wedding reception programs now. So, kanino nanggagaling ang wedding reception program? Is it from the coordinator, or as a host, you can also sit down with the couple, well, not physically, on an online meeting and discuss the program flow? Do you help them with that?
Well, for all the years that I've been hosting weddings for about, I guess, 15 to 18 years now, the program really comes from me. I often tell people, the value of the wedding reception host and the reason that you get us professional hosts to come in is because we know the ebb and flow of a program. We know exactly what gets people ticking, anong kiliti ng mga tao habang nakikinig sila. So I provide a template for the people over there when they do the program, because I often tell people, okay, if you want the program to be memorable, dramatic, if you want it to be fun, I often tell people that it's like telling a story, diba? Or how do you watch how you watch a movie nowadays, right? There has to be a build up, a climax, and this one to create this effect. This is what we do to build the program in that manner. So I actually sit down with all of them there to develop that one. And with the wedding planners I've worked with, I think they over the years they've said, yeah, RJ has a program. Here's his program. They actually know what my program is by this time, because you know, our job as hosts is to read human nature and to read how
Yes.
people react. And that's what we do. So I'm the one who does the program. Even here during the new normal, I do the, we do online or Zoom
Yeah.
meetings with a couple. I actually send the program ahead of time to them, so they're able to read the program and we're able to go through it step by step. And then we modify it based on new normal protocols, so that
Right.
it becomes it adjusts to that one. But yeah, I think that the responsibility, especially if you're hiring a wedding host, is that it should be his role, because our job is not. I sort of call myself parang director producer yan over time, di ba? So parang director producer scriptwriter yan, di ba?
Yes.
And it's much better because we know the flow of the program. So the script is in here. The script is already in here.
Yes.
But the production, the pacing, kami yan, di ba? Directing, making sure that we move from one scene to the next. That's also our job.
I think people don't always realize that the host does more than just read off the spiels, right? Because there's so much of the timing that's involved. There's so much of there's going to be a floor director who's going to say, okay, you have to stall, or you have to go now, or all of these things. And sometimes you have to jumble things up, right? May mga panahon na yung speech na pala bigla because somebody's gonna leave, and then all of a sudden things get moved up in front and things are moved. So it's not as easy as just reading the cue cards and saying, hello, please welcome, like this and that.
Exactly. So in your head, it's sort of like in my head, what's built in is that, okay, here's the sequence guide. So you know exactly how the program goes. And you know also what to put in and what to take out. What is important to have in the program, and what is optional to have in the program. And in terms of pacing, you go, okay, you can't have too much of this at the start. You can't have everything here because people are hungry. Or you can't have too much. You need to put this here at the start because the photo video need some content. Content for their same day edit video. So you put that over there. So that's really our job as the host, to put those things there. And we have what we call in our minds, especially those who do this professionally. All the ad libs are here na. So all the ad libs plus all the things that could go wrong, or all the things that might not work. We've already been seen, done it, and fixed it up before in the past. So kumbaga, plan A, B, C, D, E is here already.
So what about now, in the time of choppy internet? I think that's isn't that the biggest challenge when it comes to blended events and live streaming your weddings?
If you do blended events, that's true. But that's why, of course, ahead of time, you do the proper test. That's why you work as a team with whoever is your event, whatever is your supplier for a particular wedding. If it's Signal or if it's Zoom, you're working with them ahead of time. I often tell people, let's say, if you have a video that you're sending in, don't send it in during the program. No,
the day itself.
Or you don't download. Let's say if you're gonna sing if you're gonna sing live, don't download the song while you're from online while singing it. It has to be previously downloaded already for you over there. So I mean, there are ways to properly prepare naman for these sort of incidents that might occur. But for example, if it's Zoom, or if it's and it just happens to be that it's not your signal, it's their signal from abroad that doesn't work, no? Then you must know how to fix the program. If you memorize the program and know the program flow, you know naman what to switch, what to put where, what to put when. So it's not. I don't find it as worrisome. Diba? Your job is to keep the pace going.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, no, RJ? Because usually you host para afterthought when they've already composed everything. Para I need a host, diba? So sometimes medyo late na, no? Or sometimes they would resort to parang no, I'll just get na lang my sister or a relative na ganyan.
I mean, I can understand how people do that during this time, because number one, they're saying, okay, I have to save money, or this person speaks good English, or he's funny, or he knows me pretty well, and that's well and good and fine. But I just often remind people nowadays is that the value of having a good host and a professional host is that we know how we prepare the program flow. We know exactly how the program flows, diba? And our job is to entertain everybody, not only a specific set of people in the program. Because if you're the kamag-anak or whatever, you might not know how to handle that program. But the bigger thing is that, the host provides the program. And on top of that one, you know what, if it's a 2 hour, 2.5 hour program of the most important day in your life. If somebody screws up, who is your relative or a friend, pwede mo bang pagalitan yung taong yan? Di ba? Hindi pwede, di ba? Or hindi mo na kaibigan yan, di ba? If you had the choice and that day is very important, let your relatives relax and let those experts take over that program for you. Because our job is to keep the energy level up. Our job is to keep the pacing okay. Our job is to make sure that people stay from the start to the end of the program. If your relatives and friends or whoever can deliver on that one, that's great. But if you really want, if you want to put extra value there, we think that the host is sort of like the linchpin of that program to make it really work.
When it comes to, I'm back. When it comes to, my question is when it comes to live streaming weddings, because I think now everybody has screen fatigue, where you're so used to sitting in front of the laptop and, getting on a video call and things like that. So of course, if you're going to live stream your wedding or if you're going to have a blended event, you don't want it to feel like that, right? You don't want it to feel like it's another Zoom meeting at work or just that sluggish sort of like, okay, eto na naman, right? So what are the things, in your opinion, are the secrets to having an engaging reception program that is blended in particular?
Okay, so we're sort of like at the start of those days when I don't know if you know, diba, Jason Magbanma was one of the pioneers of the same day edit, right?
Yes.
Prior to him, how would you show the videos of people getting married? Walang same day edit, diba? They would just tape the whole program, diba? They shoot the whole program, and then just give you a copy of that one. And I remember Jason telling me the story of how he wanted to do it. He shot everything. He went home. He edited it quickly, went back. People were like, "Wow, my gosh!" Diba?
Yeah.
And it looks fantastic. But then if you look back at it, you kind of, even Jason will cringe a bit at his earlier videos just because, you were
It was the first one,
time,
yeah.
It sounded pioneering, and of course he loved it. But if you look back at it, nako, I could have done it better here and there. And we're sort of at that stage here right now, because I think that these sort of blended wedding receptions might last for some time. Even even if there is even if everybody gets fully vaccinated, I mean, people won't readily travel, or people say this is actually a cheaper alternative or a better alternative for us as well to run programs for everybody, and people can still be present. So in short, we're still evolving towards that program, making it good, because it could have been as simple as doing a Zoom, right? Just doing a Zoom and watching the program live and having one camera focus there. Now what they're doing is there's people doing Facebook Live, walking around, doing that one, plus a Zoom at the same time. So iba na yan, di ba? Kasi the Facebook Live is to get a feel of the whole program while it's going on. And then the Zoom is for people to watch the program, to watch the program live and sort of interact with the guests at the same time. So if you want to make it, I guess, a bit more engaging, I mean, number one is from when you're looking at the suppliers right now who can do that, who can help provide the blended programs, just find out what's your objective. Do you want to make it more like a cinematic experience, or like or a talk show, or a talk show experience that it's like they're part of the program, or just cinematically they're just there to watch to watch how the whole program goes. So that's one way. You have to determine what you want, or do you want to be participatory on their part? Because if it's participatory, then it's sort of like videos coming out. Then we're watching the videos, diba? So or where the host can interact with the screen and talk to the guests over there on the screen. So you want to figure out, first of all, as a couple, what do you want out of it lang? I guess, for them to be blended. Number two is you really have to start doing programs where, let's say, like for me, I've done particularly the games where we ask people to there are portions which are reserved in that game for the people who are live, who are there, and people who are watching online. And then, for example, there's some speeches that are done that are live. That one, Zoom is the simplest way to do it, diba? They can do it StreamYard, but it's a bit more difficult because there's a bit more production level over there. So it really depends on the couple, on how participatory, how engaged, and the
You want
type of
your guests
production
to be.
value, what their guests to be there, and the production value that they want coming from this one. Because as you can see, people are probably going to be spending less now on venue, right, and on food. Those are the two biggest things, right? Because I think intimate weddings will become the new norm for the
Yeah.
for the next couple of years to come. So, and even flowers.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then spend a bit more on, well, number one, for me, I'm sorry for my bias, but spend a bit more for the host, because now you can, right? I mean, make it a really great program. But number
Yes.
two, maybe spend a bit more on the blended production value, especially if the guests can't be there. Then maybe you can spend a bit more on doing these live, live productions of people shooting in your live shooting during, or live streaming your program.
Yeah.
You,
I-
RJ, you pointed out na may game. So, even now in the new normal, because before, di ba, with all the restrictions, you're thinking, oh, tanggalin na yung games kasi parang you don't want the physical interaction. So, possible pa rin pala mag-games now in the new normal.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me qualify what you call by game. So number one is, if you run the whole program, I guess if you run the whole program, to my mind, and I see it now, about 2.5 hours of the program. If you take out games and it doesn't, and if it runs like clockwork, because I like to think of it like a production number, no dull, or like a variety show, no dull moments and tuloy-tuloy yung program, because your
Yeah.
your biggest competitor always is having dead air when the program is going on.
Yeah,
Is that if you don't have any game, there's going to be dead air somewhere, because you have absolutely to buy time. So you have to have a game, because and it's also games about 10 to 15 minutes. Like I often have 2 games ready, but I often tell the couple nowadays, this one is fun, but it's optional depending when
Right.
the SDE is finished. This game, let's play, because it also helps break the ice. It helps warm up the guest. It's a bit
Yes.
more intimate. But like for me, I used to play a game called How Well Do You Know the Couple?
You know the couple.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't have people go around. It's me who goes around. So that way,
Okay.
there's nobody
Everybody's
walking around.
seated. Right.
Everybody's seated. And when I go around, I can still maintain a social distancing with them. And I go around, of course, with my face shield and my face mask. And let's say I ask questions about the cup. Because like the games I play, they aren't played just for fun. They're actually played with a purpose. The purpose is to get to know the couple better. So the
Right.
questions I ask are about the couple, and let's say I ask question, where did the couple first meet, A, B, or C? And when they finally answer that one, I can say, let's see if your answer is correct. Let's take a look at the screen, and they can watch a photo or a video of that one.
Yes.
So that way, it's still interactive, and people get to learn more about the couple, and the game is still fun. So it's really managing the logistics of a game so that it's still going to be very fun. And there's no need to take it out, because there's still interaction doesn't necessarily mean that people are participating physically, but they can also be participating by watching it, because they get to learn something. Okay, that's
Yes.
funny. Okay, that's interesting.
Some people do like comment your answer, right? Like if you're going to engage them online, some say, type it in the chat box, type your
And
your
because it's a bit
answer.
difficult, and it's a bit difficult lang kasi on the spot to get the answer from
Yes.
in terms of pacing, no? Then you can just allocate, let's say, for example, 2 to 3 questions. Oh, si mga taga-online naman dyan, let's leave this
Correct.
question open for
Yes.
you. Let's take a look at this one. The first one in the chat box to answer correctly will win the prize. So
Yeah,
ganyan.
so you're like, just as RJ says, it's exactly like a variety show, no? Like we're so used to saying, yung live audience po, they're going to play this game. Kayo pong nanonood sa bahay, this is for you. You can text it, diba? So it's very similar to that when I think what RJ is saying about games. Tama ba, Miss Sharon?
Yeah, oo. Ako lang, I asked that because, di ba, there are couples who would insist on having games because, syempre, old habits are difficult to break, no? So they've been to a few weddings or a lot of weddings before the pandemic na nakita nila masaya, may games, di ba? But
Yes.
right now, we really have to deal with the fact na talagang wala munang physical interaction. So
Yeah.
that's why you have to ask RJ.
And you sort of have to trust also that again, no, not to sell ourselves, but you have to sort of trust the host that he's able to create that fun atmosphere that you want
Yeah.
to create.
Yes.
Diba? Because like some people in the past, some couples have insisted to me, do this, RJ, do this one. Sabi ko, okay, but I can't guarantee it's going to be as fun.
Yeah.
Di ba?
It may tank.
Yeah. Or but I tell them ahead of I tell them ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Manage
And
expectations. Right.
sabi ko, because I'll tell them usually, based on my experience. I mean, of course I can do what you want, and of course I want to do what you want. I just share with them, this is what I did, this is what you saw. Maybe you might want to consider this one. But in the end, it's always and my job is to give them the best experience ever. If they want
That
to play
they
a
wanted,
specific
yeah.
game or they want a specific, then you do it that way. The other one, for example, if you do play games, if they wanted anything in the end, no, and you want to still maintain physical distancing, it has to be with, like, I play couples games, but you have to be people who live together in the same house, di ba?
Right.
Para,
Yes.
so I have a game which is very fun with couples involved, and I was able to do it again in my wedding last Monday, but it was only involving people who live together, couples in the same room. We don't interact with people from different households or from different areas. People really enjoyed the game because they enjoyed the game because the couples were having fun, the newlyweds were having fun, and there was still some social distancing involved with couples who were on the stage, but they were distanced from each. They were all distanced from each other. And I could manage it naman there from where I was sitting, and it was very, very fun. It was very, very fun to do. And I was very happy myself because sabi ko, wow, I haven't done this in the longest time. Of course, adjusted to the new normal.
Yeah. So possible pa rin. And I guess no, as the host, parang ikaw na rin yung while the program is ongoing, like that game, no, and you're the one conducting it. Parang ikaw na rin yung nagpo-police ng participants because you have to keep reminding them na to stay 1 meter apart. Do not remove your mask. Yeah,
and at the same time, I knew that I had to play that program because I had to play that game because I knew that the SDE was not yet finished.
Right.
So that's sort of what the host does,
working.
Right? Yeah.
So wala siya. It wasn't part of the original lineup of activities.
It was a game I put as optional. Optional depending on whether the SDE is finished or not. So that's why I put that part of the program over there. And talking about the policing, that's also my job. Let's say, for example, we were in a venue. I have to keep reminding the guests very kindly because it's my job.
How do you do it?
You're the wordsmith. I say, ladies and gentlemen, as per the protocols of our venue and for the safety of everybody else here in this room, we would like to kindly remind all the guests that when you are not eating or drinking, to kindly wear your face mask and your face shield within the venue. Thank you so much for your cooperation. But again, I mean, say it in a very polite, but in a very polite way, and not too intrusive, but ensuring that it's still done. That's what's very important, and that's what the host does.
Right, and that's actually also what a professional host will do. Kasi to the point of Miss Sharon, that again, if you maybe get a friend or somebody who's not as comfortable with hosting, they won't remember that. Right, or
they might say it, but the way that they phrase it, the words might not be chosen too well. That's oftentimes I say that's why that's what the host is, diba? Over the years, we've had to find ways to diplomatically say things, or so it doesn't offend. Yes, Ms. Sharon.
It's because you're if it's a relative, if it's a family member or a relative or a close friend. Syempre medyo pwede maging complacent because they'll say na, we're all relatives here, diba? So they wouldn't see that right away na pwedeng merong violation ng protocols ng venue. But if it's a professional host, naka built in, I guess, diba, when you get professionals handling your event, may built-in mechanism na yan, and these are the things that we should watch out for. These are the things that we should cover, diba? As a host, these are the things that I should be reminding the guests, no? And you're doing it, yun nga, sabi mo, my way of, as you mentioned, there's a way of announcing these things, diplomatic way of announcing these things. Yun.
I was going to mention pala that what I like about many of the weddings that I've been hosting nowadays is that well, during the times that the vaccines weren't in yet, everybody had to be antigen tested before going into the venue. And for me, that's key. That for the wedding, for the couple, that it's important to get all the guests. I mean, I mean, you don't want people coming out of your wedding saying, nakuha ko yung COVID dito sa wedding na to, di ba? That's really, really bad, di ba? So I think it's important for couples that, if you're going to spend, make sure you spend for the antigen testing for them. And nowadays, like for me, I'm fully vaccinated now, but I like also that the couple made sure that, for all the weddings I've been doing nowadays, kahit swab testing, I mean, I'm very happy that's sort of like the protocol coming into the weddings nowadays, which just adds to the fact that, okay, a lot of challenges coming into doing the wedding, but when you push through with it, the feeling of, wow, we did this during the new normal, guests came, despite these challenges, all these different things, makes it even more memorable. I mean, hopefully, 10 years down the road, Miss Sharon, Rona, di ba? You think, wow,
Wala na nun.
Can you believe we got married during this time?
Yes, yeah.
And para, I mean, it's something that's going to be actually very memorable for people to think about it, di ba?
It's a story you're going to tell forever and ever to your children
Forever.
and your children's children.
Literally, di ba? Literally,
Yeah.
stories, yeah.
So,
yeah, and do you see this? Do you see this happening? But you kept mentioning, no, you think this will be the norm for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I actually do because I just like you, Miss Sharon, I work in several industries, diba? So food is one of my
Yes.
the food business is one of my other industries. I'm a co-founder of Mercato, and we've seen that al fresco dining is important, and aside from al fresco, delivery is going to be key. Even if the economy does open up and health protocols, everybody gets vaccinated, I think it's here to stay, right? I think people will, because they got so used to it because of the ease of doing it, it's going to stay. So I also think that when it comes to weddings, and because, of course, the technology improved to do al fresco or to do outdoor dining, it improved, diba? Deliveries improved much, diba? And of course, e-payments with your GCashes and your PayMy became much, much easier. Accelerate they call it digital transformation. Yes. I think the same thing also happened for the wedding industry. It was also digitally transformed at the same time. I mean, all of a sudden the technology developed for us to, or at least the smoothness of technology developed for us to create blended programs, lesser venues. So, so a lot of silver linings for us were actually learned during this time to make actually weddings easier to do, cheaper to do, and people realize, even if I did it this way, it still seems to be okay,
special.
Right? Yeah, it still seems to be okay. So we might actually do these more sort of blended programs more often. So I think it's going to be the new norm, but people won't immediately go back to doing 300 to 400 guests. But what we're going to be seeing right now is, I think, more intimate weddings and more destination weddings. I think that's what's going to happen right now.
Right.
More intimate and destination is going to be, and then hopefully now, because they're spending, they really spend right now on the if it's a destination, on the venue, on getting better food. Hopefully, and then aside from that one, the other budget that they'll be spending on right now, which everybody's spending on right now, is the health protocol budget, right? The antigen testing, everything else be part of the budget now, and hopefully they spend a bit more on the wedding suppliers, because now, since just a fewer, they have more money to spend on the wedding suppliers. So, like hosts like myself, hopefully become more key in them, because they realize the benefit of, if it's an intimate wedding, it's a purposeful wedding. They want to make sure that it's run correctly. Talk to your hosts so that they can give you a sort of wedding which you deserve.
I have a question. What about fully virtual weddings? Because I think that's the one we did.
Experience ko yan.
Yeah, like the one Miss Sharon we guested last week. Well, it was a golden wedding anniversary, so obviously there was just heightened awareness of safety protocol. So they decided, okay, we're gonna have our church blessing, but we're not totally at all gonna have any reception. But the kids decided, okay, let's get everybody on Zoom. So they had 170 people logged in on Zoom for the reception. And for me, when I hear 170 people or 170 users in a virtual event, that's already kinakabahan na ako eh. Yung parang ang dami na. And how do we keep that engaged? How do I keep that fun? And they were from all over the world. So there were guests who were up in the middle of the night, right? So you totally can't be dragging kung puyat na po sila watching your trying to be part of your reception. What are your tips, or what's your advice?
The principle should still be the same: more magical, more memorable, more fun. I mean, when you do the weddings, and there should still be a pacing, And that's, again, that's the value of getting a professional host, because that's my job. If it's not doing a wedding, is to handle programs that are either lifestyle or business oriented. But the thing is, I'm just one component of doing all that one.
Right.
If you do a program that is going to be fully online, it might, the event organizer might not be enough. It might have to be somebody with a production background who can come in and run this one, because it's literally going to run like a production right now. I mean, we're on StreamYard right now. You might have to do an e-cam broadcast, or use other apps to actually do the program where people know, okay, pin this one because it should focus right now on the speech, on the person giving the speech, on the video. So it has to be a technical director behind the scenes directing this one for you, right?
Yes.
And that's what I think, that's what's going to be more key. And then it might be Zoom or not Zoom or another app that they're going to be using to create that sort of production number of a program. So that's really it. Because as hosts, we can only do so much to engage the guests. But the other part of the engagement is really the production value, the online production value of the program.
Yeah.
It's still possible. It's still very much possible. And I've done programs like that. But like I said, it has to be a technical director behind the scenes, managing what's happening there and what the viewer is seeing.
Yeah. Actually, I just, yung Rona, the wedding that we coordinated, ano na lang siya kasi, nag-evolve na lang siya. It was really just a simple wedding, and then lumaki na lang yung virtual guest nila, no? But yeah, it takes a team to pull it off. And medyo homegrown production siya, no? Because they decided they just want to limit the professional suppliers that they will get. But when we were doing it, syempre, at the back of my mind, malaking impact then if it would have been a lot easier if you have, like, let's say, if we had a professional host, because there was a session on parang breakout rooms to take the place of the table-to-table hopping, no? So, syempre, yung job of yung host, as the host, pwede kang magbalik-balik from the main room to the to the breakout room. Yeah. So.
Or let's say, for example, if I was there, my contribution would be to develop the games that would be engaging for everybody in that place to join, diba?
Yes.
Yes. And so even if they're there, I could have played my games now. How well do you know the couple? How well do you do this one? And I've done that with 200 people online. How to participate in this type of things, and that's what we bring to the table. Right. And like I said, no, I'm not only a wedding host. I mean, I'm a host who specializes in weddings. But then I take the background of what I've gained from doing these other forums and seeing how we engage them there, and we bring that into our wedding hostings. So we can bring these type of innovations that we've learned, or insights that we've gained, and bring it into a wedding reception program.
That's right. Kasi like if we had siguro if there was a professional host, kasi para to keep everyone's attention, merong pre-recorded video, musicians, no, entertaining. But at the back of my mind as the coordinator, time check ako ng time check, because pag natapos yung musicians yung video, wala na kaming bala. Di ba? Wala na. Kailangan matapos kami at that time. So, ako makulit ako, time check. Okay, last 2 minutes, ganyan. But yeah, on hindsight, if we had someone like RJ, kayang-kaya istall, no? Kung medyo nagkakasarapan pa sila sa breakout rooms, in the main room, something is happening, even if tapos na yung mga musicians natin.
Right.
Kaya ano siya, talking to RJ now, na-realize ko, parang the program hosts are actually parang the coordinators na rin of sorts of a wedding program, no?
Well, that's really, actually, many of the wedding coordinators, they're happy that, especially if they get professional hosts. Like for myself, they're very happy because they kind of will just take a back seat. Oh, RJ is there, okay.
Yeah.
They just kind of say, I'll just give you your assistant to stand beside you. Okay, that's all I need.
Okay na.
Just give me my assistant, because I just need to know at that point, is the video done? Is this done? Yes. Can you get me
somebody just to cue you, right?
Yeah, or is the champagne? Are the champagne glasses ready? I mean, that's all I need. Somebody queuing you for. That's what I just needed. Is this guest ready to speak? Is this guest? Can you line them up already? That's really it. That's what they prefer. I mean, as a planner, as an event organizer, that's what they also prefer. Na parang, okay, somebody's in control.
Yeah,
Right.
so you know, Rona, when I'm working with a professional host, I'd usually say na parang yan, RJ, okay, this is your show. Just let me know what you need. Kasi they really run the show. Diba?
Right.
Yan yung beauty of ano. Yeah, and that's why I'm so glad we have RJ to share those mga insights sa atin. And wow, almost an hour na tayo, Rona. Ang bilis, no? I would like to ask sana si RJ yung final words, final tips, advice, insight, and how people can get hold of you. But before that,
Mhm.
pag-isipan mo muna, we'd like to, we just have a few announcements
Sure, go ahead, please.
today. Yeah. So talking about events, okay, so if you're thinking of tying the knot soon, okay, or you are a wedding professional ready to go back on ground, the Philippine Association of Wedding Planners will be hosting a webinar entitled Events Ready Safe Go. It's a collaboration with Abbott. It's on June 29th, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's for free. So I highly encourage lahat ng mga wedding professionals, wedding coordinators, photo, video, professional hosts to attend this. No? So best practices for safe return to the live events. So you can register, just go to the Facebook page of the Philippine Association of Wedding Planners. Okay? And then our next announcement is Siglot Tilayad Love Nuts. This is the first international online bridal fair of our friends from the Cordillera. So hindi lang po Baguio, but the entire Cordillera region.
Wow.
And they've collaborated with Themes and Motives, and they're using the online bridal fair um, system of Themes and Motives. So this is going to be in July, starting July 28th. And this is in cooperation with the Department of Tourism. So for those of you who would like to be part of this event, if you're a wedding professional, please contact Heaven's Touch coordinators. You can find them on Facebook. For Suntues, you just have to register online to be part of this event, www.themesandmotives.com. At sabi nga ni RJ, it's gonna stay for a while, the blended event. So tama, today is the first day of the Philippine Wedding Summit Online Bridal Fair. The opening ceremony today is June 26. And because ayoko na pong manghula at ayoko pong kinakabahan, the simple virtual opening ceremony will be hosted by no less than Mr. RJ Ledesma himself. So
Thank you
please
for the
do join us
opportunity.
today. And tune in because one of our major sponsors, Rich Gold Weddings, will be raffling off an express party package for the viewers. Yeah, so we'll see you at 2 p.m. So back to you, RJ. Ano ang advice mo, tips sa mga planning to get married?
Well, number one is, I mean, during this time. Oh, sorry, there's a bit of feedback, no? Maybe there's another something turned on. Anyway, number one, I think there's a lot of challenge. I mean, number one, getting married is a great thing to do, right? It's nice to sanctify your marriage, and that you're planning to do it, especially during this new normal. I've seen that many people, whether you do it with us here, a full-blown wedding reception, or just an intimate one where you sanctify your wedding, that's great, diba? In God's eyes, that's great. What you guys are trying to do. If you want to push through with putting together an intimate wedding program where we as the industry can help you out, we're also very glad to do so. And we're saying that even during this time, even during this new normal, maybe for people who have what I would call preconceived notions of how a wedding should be, especially because in your head you're still holding what I would call quote unquote the baggage of what happened in the old normal.
Old
Sometimes
programming.
the old programming, you might have to let that go and understand that weddings can still be fantastic even during the new normal. In fact, they can be more intimate. They can be more memorable during this time. I was reading the other day a post of Jason saying the same thing, that we've been in the industry for many years, but given this new atmosphere, it's changed the sort of flavor and the way that weddings are conducted. And the silver lining of this one is that weddings have become even more touching and more resonant for people right now. And so if you're planning here right now to do your weddings in this new normal, we suggest that maybe in your head, budget is still a very key consideration. If that's the case, then really choose well your suppliers. Don't go just because they are the most affordable, I would say. No, I mean, that's just for me. But really choose the ones who can, if it's an intimate wedding that people have to make an effort to go to, who are the ones who you think can help you create that great story of a wedding during this new normal, who can help you make it more stress-free, more engaging during this time, and of course, at the same time, more memorable. I often tell people that weddings are three parts. It's part drama, part solemn, part humor. How do you make that sort of wedding work, and how do you make sure that you get really great storytellers who can tell a story from the video to the floral design to the hosting, and that's what you want to get to make your wedding more memorable. And if you want to get in touch with me to help you create that sort of memorable wedding reception program during the new normal, very simple. Please just go to my Facebook page. I have a private and public Facebook page. That's RJ Ledesma. I also have a website, rjledesma.com. I'm also on Instagram. I'm even on LinkedIn. So many ways to get in touch with me. I would love to help you create the most memorable day in your life. I want to help make the most important day in your life more magical, more memorable, and more fun.
Thank you,
Ayan.
RJ. I think
Thank
listening
you.
to you, if they haven't heard you yet, I don't know why they haven't heard you. But if this is their first time to hear you, I'm sure that they're already sold. No, ako sold na din ako eh, no. Kaso hindi ako ikakasal uli. So, baka sa
Ano
ano
na
na lang.
magpakasal?
Oh,
Magpakasal
sa mga,
ulit.
si Miss Sharon, magsi-silver anniversary yan. Tama
Oh
ba?
yeah, nandiyan ako. Ako na yung MC na yan.
Ayun,
Ako na yan.
see?
Hala, is my roommate listening? Hala, mag-ipon ka na for the celebration.
Oh, we got you.
Yeah.
Everybody's got your silver anniversary.
Oh,
Yeah.
wala talagang mag-offer para sa'yo, Sharon eh.
Diba? Thank you, RJ, for
Yes.
joining us this
Thank
morning.
you.
Again, thanks again for the
RJ
opportunity.
will be back later at
And we'll
2
see you at
o'clock.
2 p.m. for the official launch of the Philippine Wedding Summit here online. Again, thank you so much. Miss Sharon, I think we'll be working together with the same partners for your online marketplace, so your friends from UBX.
Yes, and so excited for that. Oo.
So congratulations
And
for that
RJ
one.
is RJ is also part of the Philippine Wedding Summit online bridal fair. Ako, dadagdag ko lang bago tayo maghiwa-hiwalay. Sabi ni RJ, for couples that are still hanging on, no, kung paano yung weddings pre-pandemic, may mga couples din na parang, or even the suppliers, make yung image nila of what a bridal fair should be. But now is a new normal, so let's embrace the online bridal fair. I would just want to share with you, kasi marami nagtatanong, we want on-ground, kailan mag-on-ground? According to the sign-ups that we're getting, because we're getting yung survey from Soon to Weds, out of the almost 2,000 registrants, 2% pa lang po ang brave enough to go on ground, who will actually visit an on-ground fair. So, diba? So ito na po, ang chance natin as suppliers, wedding professionals, to be seen by our market. Go online, embrace online. Sabi nga ni RJ, it can work. And sometimes it's even more beautiful. So we'll see you later this afternoon, official opening of the Philippine Wedding Summit 2021 online bridal fair.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. God bless. Get married.